Hi, I'm Steve Bourie, author of the American Casino Guide. For the past 25 years, it's been the #1 best-selling book about casino gambling and travel, and the only book that comes with more than $1,000 in casino coupons. Each month, we upload a new video about how casinos work and how you can win. So if you want to learn how to be a better gambler, be sure to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget that we have a free app. Just search for American Casino Guide in the App Store or Google Play Store to download it to get details on all U.S. casinos, plus tips for playing and free casino coupons. We're at Nanotech Gaming, and I'm speaking with Steve Riesenberger, who's the creative director here at Nanotech Gaming. And we're going to take a look at some of these new games that Steve is developing, his company is developing. And this is all based on Senate Bill 9, which is a new law, new regulation in Nevada, which allows the introduction of skill-based gaming. Can you tell us what your thoughts are on this and how your games are going to be different than some of the other ones? For example, at G2E, we saw traditional manufacturers, they would sometimes have like Space Invaders, and you would go into a bonus round, and then you'd play a game of Space Invaders. But you're taking a whole different approach. What is your approach?
Right. The bottom line for us is that we want to have the player's skill affect the probability that they're going to win or lose a wager. Now, Senate Bill 9 specifically opens up the door to allow for variable paybacks. And that's what we saw at G2E with the slot machines with the bonus round. Yes, there was an element of skill in that. There still needs to be an element of chance in that. And what Senate Bill 9 is calling hybrid games, there's a little bit of chance, there's a little bit of skill. And our games are different from everything else in that you can use your skill to get an advantage on an individual wager. And I don't think any other manufacturer is talking about that.
All right, so two games we're going to take a look at today is, we saw both of these at the Global Gaming Expo, the G2E show in Las Vegas a few months ago. We're going to look at Pinball, which is, what's the technical name for this game?
Vegas 2047 Pinball, and we're also going to see CasinoKat, which is a classic maze chase arcade game.
All right, well, we'll see how this works.
Okay.
Okay, Steve, this is the Vegas 24/7 pinball machine, and when you first walk up to this machine in the casino, it may look a little bit intimidating because of the different numbers at the top there, but can you explain how this works?
Sure. This machine is set to a $100 minimum, and the unique part about our games and our technology is that the player can decide to bet whatever they want from whatever casino minimum to whatever casino maximum. And this is just a default configuration. So you can see up at the top, the bet amount is at 100, but I can adjust this down to as low as $5 or as high as, I think right now it's set at 50,000. But let's keep it at 100. And you can also see that as I decrease and increase my bet amount, as is the standard in casino math, the payback decreases and increases. So at the low end of $5 bet, the casino is going to take 25% of that to make $1.25 theoretical. And at the high end of $100, the casino takes 1%. So there's it's a little bit cheaper in the theoretical to play at $100 at a 1% house edge than at $5 at a 25% house edge. The second thing that I can do is I can dynamically set my pay amount. Now this is more like a table game where I'm betting $100, and if I lose, I lose the $100. But if I win the pay amount, and I can set that to an even money bet, or I can set it as high as the casino will allow, and I still am betting a 1% house edge bet. The third thing that I have control over as the player is to adjust my skill effect. And right now, you can see that the skill effect is at 100% maximum, which means that if I score the lowest possible score seen in the database, I will receive a 75% payback for that bet. If I score the average score in the score database, I will receive a 99% payback. And if I score the best score in the database, I will receive a 123% payback. Now that doesn't guarantee that I'm going to win or lose my bet. That just means that the higher my score, the higher probability that I have of winning this particular bet. And the other thing that you can't see on the camera is that as I'm adjusting the bet amount and the win amount up and down, the red and green spinning wheel in the center of the table is updating dynamically to match and see the visualization of my probability of winning this bet.
Okay, one question, please. Yes. So now it says you're betting $100 to win, let's say, even money.
Yes.
So that means you bet $100, then you will win your $100 back plus another $100 if you're successful.
That's correct. You can dynamically adjust your bet amount, your win amount, and the effect of skill. You can even adjust the effect of skill down so that there is no effect of skill. It's pure chance. I'm betting $100 to win even money with a 1% house edge, and it doesn't matter what score I get. I'm going to get a 99% payback.
All right, so now for someone who's coming to play this game for the first time, they're not sure of how it works, and they don't consider themselves a good pinball player, what would you suggest for them?
Just either watch people play, talk to other people, or set the skill effect down to 0, which means it doesn't matter what score that I get, I can play and have fun, and I'm only giving up a 1% house edge on my bet.
Okay, well, let's have a practical look at this game, because I've seen you play this in some of your videos, and you're very good at it. And if you get this into the casinos, I think Steve Wynn may bar you from his place.
That's fair for him to do, but the math model that we've come up with guarantees that Steve Wynn or any casino operator is going to get whatever payback they set. And right now, this, like I said, this is set at a 1% house edge at a $100 bet. That is a guarantee. It's mathematically guaranteed. So no matter if a team of highly skilled pinball players comes in, they're going to be competing against themselves, where one of them is going to get an advantage, but the majority of them is going to get a disadvantage. It's similar to head-to-head poker. There's only a few professional poker players making 6- and 7-figure winnings, lifetime winnings. There's a huge majority of poker players who are not lifetime winners.
Okay, let's see you in action on this game.
Now, on the wheel, we can see I've got a $100 bet to win $100, and with a 1% house edge, the wheel is pretty much 50% red, 50% green. I'm giving up about half a percentage to it's 50.5% red. Let's just say. I know the math, and that's what's reflected on the wheel. As I increase my bet amount, but I leave the pay amount the same, you can see that as I'm betting more money to win $100, at $200 to win $100, I'm more likely to win that because the wheel is more green. And I can adjust this up and down all day long to whatever the casino will allow me to bet. Right now I'm at about $900 to win $100. Now again, you have to remember that this is a table game bet. The $900 is the amount that I lose if the wheel ends on red. If it lands on green, I win $100, and I don't lose my $900 at all. So it's not like a slot machine in that as soon as I hit the button, my $900 doesn't disappear. It's still in my account. I can also go the opposite direction. I'll reduce my bet amount to $100, and I'll increase the pay amount to right now it's $2,500. And at a 1% house edge, that's the best odds I'm going to get, much better than any slot machine. So I'm going to go ahead and play, and I'm going to quit out. And when I do that, I'm telling the game that I just want to resolve that bet quickly. Let's do it again. Let's run it again. I don't want to have skill affect the outcome at all. So that was a straight 99% payback. I still lost, but if I take that bet over and over and over, $100 to win 25. Well, I let it go that time, but it's better odds than any $100 slot machine. Better odds than baccarat at even money. And we're not trying to tell the player how to play our games. If they want to get through it and I need to leave really quick. Let me quit out of this game. Let me end the game really quickly. We're allowing the player to do that, and that's another operator setting. If the operator doesn't want to allow the player to do that, they can just turn that off.
Okay, but at the end, when this wheel is spinning, that's a random number generator.
Exactly. And so you can see that this is a game of skill. This is not a bonus round in a game of chance. I'm playing pinball, and the number of points that I earn is a direct effect of how skilled I am at controlling the flippers and hitting the targets, saving the ball with a slap save. There's no way that I can get an advantage over this game by hidden knowledge. Everything is up front and on the table. Now I know that I still don't have a very good chance of winning a 25x pay on a $100 bet, so I'm going to let it drain. And you might be able to see that the green slice is just a little bit bigger than I started out. Maybe you could roll back the tape and see that. Still, I had a 16% advantage on that particular bet. I still lost, but you could see, if you roll the tape back, that the green section was just a little bit bigger. So the message that we're sending to skilled players is that if you can consistently perform at an 85% score percentile, you can consistently get an advantage. And that's somewhat scary to operators, but let me underscore that by saying the machine and the system is not allowed to pay out more over its lifetime than the payback as set by the house edge. So it works similarly to a progressive slot machine in that when there's no more advantage to be given out by the system, then no more advantage will be given out. And to get that advantage, you have to collect it. And what that means is that some players have to have a below average game and give up some of that advantage. Their red slices got a little bit bigger at the end of the round for someone to come in and take that advantage. Their green slices get a little bit bigger. Okay, this is CasinoKat, and I'm going to show you really quickly, again, the wagering mechanics. I can bet whatever I want to win whatever I want, and that percentage is reflected on the red and green wheel as I dynamically adjust my bet amount and win amount. And the thing that we've added to this system is a visual representation of the score database and exactly where in the score database each of these theoretical scores is mapped to. So you can see if I want to get the average payback as set by the machine, I need to score 11,470. At the top end, I could see that the high score on this machine is 36,390, and I know that if I achieve that high score with this even money bet, I have a 62% chance of winning that. It's still, better than 50-50, but the red and green wheel still has to spin at the end, and that's the determining factor. So I'll just play this and try to improve my odds. Now, one thing that you'll notice, and real quick, you can adjust the effective skill in a more analog fashion than you could on Vegas 2047. And this is just, as you were asking before, Steve, if I first step up to the game and I know I'm not that good at it, I don't understand all the rules, I don't want to be penalized for my lack of skill and get a 76% payback. So I can adjust this to whatever comfort level that I have. Right now at 94%, I can play, I can have fun. It's much better than the odds on any penny slot machine. And if I have a really good game, I can get up to a 4% advantage. And that's more than any video poker machine in town. So I'm going to go ahead and play and show you some of my strategies. And as you can tell, this game is very heavily influenced by the classic arcade hit Pac-Man. But in our machine, there are a lot of specific differences that make it more suitable to the casino, such as the ghost AI algorithms are completely random. There's no way that you can learn how the enemies are going to move, because the enemies don't even know which way they're going to move. It's all random.
All right, and in the center there, you have a little slot machine. What does that represent?
Yes, that represents what prize comes out. So you saw I was awarded 2 dice symbols, and the third one you can see this banana came out. That just tells you what prize came out of the machine. And if you got 3 of the same symbols that come out of the machine, then you'll be rewarded with a jackpot of 2 more of those symbols. So if I would have got that third dice symbol, 2 more dice would have come out. Now, I had a pretty good game there, 79%, 112% payback, but I still lost.
Now, do you have a way for a player to check their history of how they've done on a particular game?
That's another thing that's tied into the accounting system, and if we do entice operators to go with the cashless gaming system, it'll be easier to track on the player card. But that's something that we don't currently have exposed in the database. But I assure you that all the history of all of the plays that have ever occurred on this machine are in our database. The scores, the bet amount, the win amount, whether or not they won or lost, the effective skill, the number of seconds that they've played, a unique player ID number, all of that is saved in the database, along with, and this is another thing that's very important for SB9, when you start getting into games of skill, you're going to want a way to review if somebody wins a lot or wins a large amount of money. You're going to need a way to ensure that there was nothing funny going on, that they didn't use some kind of cheat. So I know with slot machines, they require that they save the last 10 games. You need to be able to play and replay the last 10 games on a slot machine, and we have the capability to do that in CasinoKat and in Vegas 2047. Our system allows for a full recreated playback of the entire gameplay, which means where the ball was in the pinball machine, where all of the enemies were in the CasinoKat game, because the moment that you start playing this game, everything is deterministic, and we can replay that. It's based on a random seed number that is generated by the computer, and engineers are very familiar with this technology and this way of doing randomness. So our games are fully compliant with where we see SB9 headed in the future, because when you start talking about big money tournaments and games of skill, I'm going to want to see the full playback of what just happened. We need to be able to review these things. We can't just go on the faith of the game developers.
All right, now when do you expect these to be in the casinos?
Well, the casino industry is a very slow-moving industry with lots of regulations and compliance that we have to go through. So the first thing that needs to happen is these particular machines need to go through at least a month's worth of testing with a third-party compliance lab. And then they have to go on a 3-month field trial. So at the very soonest, you won't see these games in casinos for another 4 to 6 months. And that's, if all of the, if the stars and the planets align and there are no problems along the way. But definitely by this time next year, if not, at the end of this year, we could see these games on test in a casino somewhere. Let me just say that.
All right, so we're looking at probably the earliest summer of 2016, and hopefully latest early 2017.
That's what I hope.
All right, and Steve, if someone wants to get more information on your company, where can they go to get that?
They can visit www.nanotechgaming.com.
All right, Steve Riesenberger, Creative Director at Nanotech Gaming, thank you very much for spending time with us today.
Thanks for being here, Steve.
Don't forget that you can see more of our educational gambling videos on our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/American Casino Guide.